After about a week of radio silence from Cincinnati and 1,000 rumors and reports coming out about possible defensive coordinator options for Cincinnati, there has finally been 2 names listed as the finalist for the defensive coordinator job in Cincinnati. And this time, it is for real. Obviously, a little bit ago, we had a video talking about Wink Martindale, that there was a rumor that he was interested in the Bengals job. Turns out nor the Bengals or Martindale were even in conversation. And then Matt Eberflus said was involved in Cincinnati. Turns out there wasn't much involvement there. But these 2 have been named as the 2 finalists left in the defensive coordinator job. And one comes as not a surprise, as we've already interviewed him and made it public. So let's just jump right in to the report. This is coming from Bengals Sports Illustrated sources. Cincinnati Bengals down to 2 finalists for defensive coordinator job. And the first guy you see right there is the guy I'm talking about, Patrick Graham. We've already interviewed him a week ago, the day after we fired Lou Anarumo. Patrick Graham and DeMarcus Covington were the 2 guys we requested to interview. Patrick Graham, being the Raiders DC, was the first guy we interviewed. The first guy we requested to interview. He's been with the Raiders since 2022, and in that span, his first season in 2022, they finished the season with a total defense of 28. But then the next season, they had a massive jump, the Raiders did. From 2022 to 2023, they went from the 28th total defense to the 15th total defense. That's more than a 10 ranking jump. And then in 2024, they finished at the same spot at 5th team. Patrick Graham is a younger coach. He has some experience in a wide range of coaching positions, including DC, that he has been the last 3 years. He was a cornerback coach, was an assistant defense coach. He's been around the league. He's even getting interest in head coaching jobs, including this offseason interviewing for the Jacksonville Jaguars position. So, Patrick Graham, a young guy in the league, newer to the league, has a lot of respect to the league, and he has proven that he can be a defensive coordinator and he can turn one of the lower third defenses into a mid-tier defense. And I've said it multiple times in multiple videos. All the new DC has to do is make Cincinnati just decent. That's all. Cincinnati's defense just decent. That's all Joe Burrow and this offense need, is the defense to be mid or decent. And what I think is really smart about this is that, I know I'm talking about this later on with the second guy that's a finalist that hasn't been brought up at all, except I mentioned one time. Patrick Graham has a similar scheme to what the Bengals' vision for their defense is. Not a heavy blitzing team, more of a coverage team with the amount of corners we have drafted in recent drafts. We want to be more of a coverage team, or more of a deep threat team, and Patrick Graham fits that style. So with how young our defense is, it seems Zach Taylor doesn't want to go away from the scheme that they're used to. They want them to make it an easy transition to the new guy. They just need a new face in the defensive room to build that culture, to have the players support him. Not saying they weren't supporting Lou, but there was just a change needed to, but not a change that would drastically change the scheme. I think Patrick Graham fits that exactly how Zach Taylor is wanting. The one thing that I talked about when I talked about Wink Martindale and Matt Eberflus is that Zach Taylor, the most interesting thing he said after the press conference, after firing Lou, was saying that he wanted to stay in the AFC North. Patrick Graham has never been in the AFC North. It's recent, the last 3 years, he's not even been close to the AFC North. So I think that's why this next guy, and a lot of people are agreeing with me, is the front runner. It is his job if he wants it. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But who that is Al Golden. He is currently the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. And why it hasn't been said, or why his name hasn't been publicly said from the Cincinnati Bengals organization, was because that his team, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, are still in season. And I talked about this last video. I said maybe there was a DC we were looking for that was still maybe playing football and wasn't able to do an interview because they were still in season. Maybe I was thinking maybe more along the lines of a DC in the NFL playoffs, but no. I brought up Al Golden a little bit ago, but I think the main reason why his name hasn't been brought up from Cincinnati is the fact that his team, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, is still in season. They are playing the national championship on Monday. This coming up Monday, he will be playing Ohio State in the college football national championship. And he's been there since 2022, just like Patrick Graham has been the Raiders since 2022. Al Golden has been in Notre Dame since 2022, being the defense coordinator. And in 2022, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, finished 21st in total defense. And then they took a massive jump from 2022 to 2023. After Al Golden's first year as the DC, he was top 25, and the next season, he finished his Notre Dame Fighting Irish team, finished 5th total defense in the entire FBS college football. That's about 130 teams, by the way. So finished number 5 in around 130 teams in FBS college football. And then from 2023 to 2024, had a little bit of a drop-off, but still one of the most dominant defenses in college football. And the reason why the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are in the national championship is because of their defense. This season finished 9th in total defense. They also, from 2023 to 2024, if you're not a big as a college guy, obviously the draft is every year. There's a lot more rotation in college football than there is in NFL. From 2023 to 2024, he lost 4 starters on the defense. 4 of his starters on the defensive side went to the draft and were drafted. And with losing 4 starters, he still remained top 10 in total defense of college football. But what I think is most important about Al Golden, and why I think he and many others think he is the favorite for this defensive coordinator job in Cincinnati, is because that he's been in Cincinnati before. From 2020 to 2021, he was the Cincinnati Bengals linebacker coach under Zach Taylor. He has been in Cincinnati before. He understands the AFC North, and he was a part of the scheme that Lou was building. Lou Anarumo was the defense coordinator when Al Golden was there as a linebacker coach. He knows exactly what the vision for this defense is. He was a part of building that defense. And think about the linebacker core that started to come into shape in 2020 and 2021. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. This guy, Al Golden, is the reason why Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are what they are today. He is the person that developed them. Logan Wilson now is one of the best linebackers in the league, and so is Jermaine Pratt. Jermaine Pratt finished top 10 in tackles this season, and he did last season too. And for the first beginning of this season, until Logan Wilson got hurt, Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson were both top 5 in tackles, in total tackles. The first couple weeks, they were both 1 and 2. And this guy is the guy that developed them to what they are now. After, obviously, the 2021 season, he went to Notre Dame as the defensive coordinator in 2022. But it's looking like now that Zach Taylor is wanting him to come back. And I'm going to read you what the report had to say. Golden was on Zach Taylor's staff in 2020 and 2021, serving as the Bengals linebacker coach before taking the job in Notre Dame, like I just said. This year, he has coached circles around most of their opponents en route to being a finalist for the Broyle Award, which goes to the best assistant coach in the nation. So basically the best coordinator, coach in college football. This award goes to them. Notre Dame's defense ended the regular season first in team passing efficiency defense, first in defensive touchdowns, third in scoring defense, fourth in passing yards allowed, fourth in interceptions, and 10th in total defense. Well, there's some ESPN and FBS, they have different rankings, but top 10 total defense. This report finishes saying, I believe Golden will be the Bengals' next defense coordinator, and I 100% agree. Without a doubt in my mind, I think Al Golden is 100% the front runner for this defensive coordinator job. I think it is his job if he wants it. I think as soon as Notre Dame's season is over, which they have one more game left, and then the season is over, whether they win or lose. I think after that game, regardless of the outcome, Zach Taylor is calling, and they probably have already talked already. I think Zach Taylor is offering him the job. He's saying, if you want it, it's yours. If Al Golden turns it down and wants to stay in Notre Dame or wants to pursue other opportunities, I think it was Patrick Graham. I'm pretty sure we know about 50-50 who our defense coordinator is going to be. It's going to be one of these two names. It's going to be Al Golden showing up on your screen right now, or it's going to be Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator for the Raiders. My bet is Al Golden. I think it makes perfect sense. Zach Taylor's biggest thing was being used to the AFC North type of playing style. And Al Golden is exactly that. He was there in Cincinnati playing in the AFC North for 2 years, turning the linebacker core in Cincinnati to one of the best linebacker cores in the NFL. And look at the stats for Notre Dame this season. Obviously finished top 10 in total defense this season. Last season finished top 5. But this season, Notre Dame leads the league in turnovers with 32 total turnovers. The Bengals this season were 7th with 25. Listen to this. 3 of the 15 teams in the NFL that top 15 in turnovers, 3 of the 15 were not in the playoffs. 3 of the 15. Bengals included in that. Bengals included in the top 15 of teams with the most turnovers that were not included in the playoffs this season, which is absolutely insane. I think Al Golden will turn that around immediately. The Bengals are top 10 in turnovers this season. I think he could put us into the top 5 in one season. Notre Dame first in defensive touchdowns was 6, tied for first block kicks 6. What I think that means is Al Golden's defense, no matter what it is, even if it's an extra point, even if it's a field goal, no matter what it is, they're going full out every single play, giving the most of their energy to make sure that everything goes their way. 6 first in blocked kicks, first in defensive touchdowns, top 10 defense this season, top 5 defense last season, first in total turnovers, 8th in interceptions with 7, and 7th in fumble recoveries. I think Al Golden is the perfect candidate for being the Bengals for the defense coordinator job. I think he brings the culture that a lot of guys are wanting. I think the main reason that Lou Anarumo was fired was because of the culture in the defense. Obviously, there was a change needed to happen, and I think with Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt and the other defense, most of the defensive players being there when Al Golden was there as a coach, being familiar with him, it wouldn't take much of a really anything to get used to the players. They already know who he is. They already trust him with what he knows of the scheme, and it's not like he's going to come into Cincinnati and completely change the scheme at all. He's going to do exactly what he did in Notre Dame, but in Cincinnati. First season, top 25 defense. The next season, top 5. I think Al Golden could do that immediately in Cincinnati. That's why I think, without a doubt in my mind, Al Golden should be and will be the next defensive coordinator of Cincinnati. Obviously, it hasn't been official yet, but he is the betting favorite. And if it's not Al Golden, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Patrick Graham. I'm fine with either. I lean more towards Al Golden just because of his knowledge of the AFC North. I agree with Zach Taylor. I think the AFC North is completely different than any other division in NFL. So that's why I would rather have Golden, because he's used to the AFC North. He knows the quarterbacks in the AFC North. He knows the offenses in the AFC North, and he knows the head coaches in the AFC North. He knows what they do. He knows their schemes, and he knows how to stop it. That's why I think Al Golden is the perfect candidate for Cincinnati. But don't forget to like this video, comment on who you would want between Al Golden and Patrick Graham. It's looking like it's coming down to those two. Let me know which one you would rather have. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel for all your news, updates, trade, rumors, everything going on in Cincinnati is going to be here on the Bengals Digest channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace out.